Greetings, fellow moviegoers, and welcome to Movie Central, the place to talk about movies, TV shows based on movies, toys based on movies, games based on movies, and rides based on movies. I'm your host, Mr. CCS, and this is my pet gorilla, George. Let's talk about everyone's favorite black superhero from Marvel, the Black Panther. First appearing in Fantastic Four number 52, King T'Challa was a prince of the tribe of Wakanda, who revitalized the genre for superheroes of other races. His acclaim by critics made him one of the most popular superheroes Marvel has created today, amongst several other characters. It's weird to note, however, that his representation in media other than comics didn't arrive until the 2010s, when he appeared in TV shows, and of course his appearance in Captain America Civil War. Obviously, when announcing Phase 3, the intention to bring in a new superhero genre for the future movies was inevitable, and they wanted one of the last superhero movie before the first part of one of the biggest finales to the Infinity Saga. And not only did this movie do incredibly well at the box office, but it received massive critical acclaim, even being nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture. Was it worth all the hype, though? Well, it's time to find out. This is Black Panther. Marvel Studios' Black Panther follows T'Challa, played by the late great Chadwick Boseman, who, after the events of Captain America Civil War, returns home to the isolated technology-advanced African nation of Wakanda to take his place as king. However, when an old enemy, played by Andy Serkis, reappears on the radar, T'Challa's mettle as King and Black Panther is tested when he is drawn into conflict that puts the entire fate of Wakanda and the world at risk. Oh wow, what a simple yet great story. It makes sense, and for the first film in a proposed franchise, this really works. But is everything else worth it to make this movie nominated for Best Picture? Well, let's find out. The characters are great. T'Challa is absolutely perfect. I love his attitude, his story arc, and his character as a whole, which is something to notice. This T'Challa is not my favorite version of the character. Oh, no. That easily goes to the one from the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, who had a similar story arc and was just executed better as he had a longer time to be on screen. But even with that said, the movie version is a close second, and the late great Chadwick Boseman pulls it off in every scene he's in. For Nakia, she's the love interest, but I love her arc when she's a retired member of the Dora Milaje, and she's trying to do her best to put Wakanda back together. She makes sense in what she does, which makes for a great female lead. It's sad to know she's not in the final two Avengers movies, though. Then there's Okoye, who's honestly my favorite female character in this movie, as she is strong-willed and has a great amount of emotion in her. As for Shuri, despite some bad jokes, I like her character enough, and her being the new Panther in the sequel or sequels will be a great inspiration for young girls, any race. Then we have the parents. I know T'Chaka is dead, but he still leaves an impression on T'Challa through spirit, kind of like Mufasa in The Lion King. And Queen Ramonda is always there to help her son in his growth as a king. Then we have our villain, Eric Killmonger Stevens, played by Michael B. Jordan. He was a threatening, well-written, an absolute ball of a villain. His motivation is strong, and he's done some scary stuff. He's one of the best villains in the MCU, up there with Thanos and Loki. As for the other characters, the ones that matter the most to the plot are Ross, played by Martin Bilbo Baggins Freeman, M'Baku, or Manape if you're racist, which I'm not, so M'Baku, and Claw, played by Andy Serkis. They're small roles, but at least they add to the plot. Okay, how are the CGI effects? Whilst the locations of Wakanda and the animals look great, the human effects, these were 2018 VFX, right? Why am I asking that? Because these look atrocious. God, these look like PS1 game designs. Look, I get the team at Marvel Studios and Disney were working on Avengers Infinity War at the time, so this is the best they got, but that doesn't excuse the fact that these effects are pretty bad, making the VFX the weakest part of the movie. Back onto a more positive note, though, the music is at least great. Composed by Ludwig Göransson, the Mandalorian composer, the score embraces the African culture 1000%, with the drums, chants, and even more. Definitely listen to this score if you have a chance. As for the action, well, the poor VFX affects the big comic book action scenes like the final battle on the train tracks, the war, and the car chase, which actually means my favorite action scenes are the scenes at the waterfall. They were practical, they had weight, and they were just fun to watch. My final verdict is, while not a great movie and a very overrated movie at that, it, it had VFX and action problems. The strength from Black Panther comes from its story, characters, and music, which embraces the African culture, making this a good movie, coming in with a score of an 8.5 out of 10. While overrated, it is worth the watch. Wakanda forever, baby. Well, that's it for this review. Leave your comments on the movie below, and tune in next week when I take a look at the first entry in an amazing trilogy. What that movie is, you'll have to wait and see. With that said, my name is Mr. CCS, this is Movie Central, and that, my friends, is a wrap. See you next week.